My daughter stood in front of the Thanksgiving table, wine glass raised, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "We're celebrating without you this year, Dad. You've become such a burden." I set down my fork, looked at the faces staring at me, and replied, "Fine. Then I suppose you won't need the house I'm paying for either." Her husband's face went white. That was just the beginning. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The silence that followed stretched like taffy. 23 people around that table. My daughter Jessica, her husband Brandon, their 3 kids, my son Michael and his wife Amanda, Jessica's in-laws, Brandon's business partners, all frozen mid-chew, mid-sip, mid-breath. I could hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. 78 beats before anyone moved. Jessica recovered first. She always did. "Dad, you're being dramatic. We just think it's time you considered assisted living. You're 72. You shouldn't be alone in that big house." That big house. The 4-bedroom colonial on Westmore Avenue I'd bought in 1987. The one where I'd raised both my kids after their mother died. The one I'd refinanced in 2008 to pay for Jessica's MBA at Northwestern. $47,000 in tuition alone. "I'm not alone," I said. My voice came out steady, calm. "I have my workshop, my garden, my routines." Brandon cleared his throat. He wore a gray suit that probably cost more than I spent on groceries in 3 months. "Frank, be reasonable. The property taxes alone are what, $8,000 a year? On your pension, that's not sustainable." My pension. He said it like it was food stamps. I'd worked 41 years as a tool and die maker, retired with full benefits. My pension was $3,200 a month. Not rich, but comfortable. And he knew damn well I owned that house free and clear. "The taxes are $7,600, I said. "And I manage just fine." Jessica set down her wine glass. The crystal made a sharp sound against the mahogany table. Her table. Or rather, my table. The one I'd given them as a housewarming gift when they bought this place in Riverside Estates. $1,200 Ethan Allen dining set. I remembered the receipt. "Dad, that's exactly what we mean. You're getting confused. You just said 8,000. Now you're saying 7,600. This is why we're worried." I hadn't said 8,000. Brandon had. But I looked around the table and saw heads nodding. Agreement. Concern. Poor Frank, losing his marbles. "I'm not confused," I said. Amanda, Michael's wife, reached across and patted my hand. Her nails were painted burgundy. Fresh manicure. "No one's saying you're senile, Frank. We just want what's best for you." Michael hadn't said a word. My son, 46 years old, sat there cutting his turkey into smaller and smaller pieces. Wouldn't meet my eyes. "Michael?" I said. He looked up. His face had that expression I remembered from when he was 16 and I'd caught him smoking behind the garage. Guilty, but defiant. "Dad, maybe they have a point. That house is a lot for one person. Your mother and I raised you in that house." "I know, but Mom's gone. We're just trying to help." Jessica jumped back in. She'd always been the talker. "We found a wonderful place. Meadowbrook Senior Living. They have activities, meal plans, medical staff on site. You'd have your own apartment. No more worrying about maintenance or repairs. I thought about the new roof I'd put on 2 years ago. $15,000. Did it myself with help from my neighbor Tom. Took us 3 weekends. My back hurt for a month after, but the roof was solid. 20-year shingles. I don't need activities, I said. I don't need meal plans. Brandon leaned forward. Frank, let's talk numbers. The house is worth what, $400,000 in this market? You sell that, put the money in an index fund, you're looking at maybe $20,000 a year in dividends. That plus your pension, you'd be comfortable in a nice facility. Comfortable in a facility? Like I was a piece of furniture being put in storage. The house isn't for sale. Jessica's voice got sharper. Dad, you're being stubborn. Think about what happens if you fall. If you have a stroke, we can't be running over there every 5 minutes to check on you. No one's asking you to. But we worry, don't you understand? We lie awake at night thinking about you alone in that house. I wondered if that was true. If Jessica lay awake in this 5-bedroom showcase worrying about her old man. Or if she lay awake thinking about $400,000 in equity and what it could do for her lifestyle. I stood up. My knees creaked. That was real. 72 years of real. I think I should go. Dad, sit down. Don't be like this. Jessica's voice had that edge now, the one that meant she was losing control of the situation and didn't like it. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Brandon stood too. Frank, we're not finished discussing this. I looked at him, really looked at him. He was 49, sandy hair going gray, soft hands. He worked in finance. Something with derivatives I'd never fully understood, made good money. Had a house I'd helped them with the down payment on. $60,000. I remembered signing the check. Yes, I said. We are. I walked to the door. Nobody followed me. I could hear whispered conversations starting up behind me. Urgent, concerned, planning. The drive home took 18 minutes. I timed it. The streets were empty. Everyone home with family. Having normal Thanksgiving dinners where people were grateful instead of plotting. My house was dark when I pulled in. Single-story ranch, not the colonial I'd described. I'd lied about that. Hadn't meant to. Got confused with the old house, the one before Martha died. This house was smaller, 3 bedrooms. Built in '92. We downsized after the kids moved out. I sat in the truck for a while, engine ticking as it cooled. The temperature had dropped, 41 degrees according to the dashboard. I could see my breath in the cab. Inside, I made coffee. Didn't bother with lights, just sat at the kitchen table in the dark, drinking coffee that tasted like pennies. My hands shook a little. Could have been the cold, could have been something else. The first call came at 8:30. Michael. I let it go to voicemail. The second came at 8:45. Jessica. Voicemail. Third call, 9:15. Jessica again. I answered this one. Dad, thank God, we were worried. I'm home. I'm fine. You left so abruptly. We just want to talk about this reasonably. There's nothing to talk about, Jessica. I'm not selling the house. I'm not going to a facility. Her voice shifted, got softer, more dangerous. Dad, I spoke to Brandon's lawyer friend. He says if you're not competent to make decisions about your own care, we can file for guardianship. The coffee in my mouth turned bitter. guardianship. It's for your own protection. We'd manage your finances, make sure you're safe. That's what families do. Families. I thought about Martha, how she'd looked at Jessica in the hospital those last days, holding her hand. "Take care of your father," she'd said. Jessica had cried, promised. That was 8 years ago. "You want to take my house," I said. "Dad, don't be paranoid. We want to take care of you." "By taking everything I have. You're being irrational. This is exactly the kind of confusion we're talking about. I'm going to call Dr. Morrison in the morning, have him do an evaluation." I hung up, set the phone on the table, stared at it like it was a snake. The thing about being old is people stop seeing you as a person. You become a problem, a liability, a burden, like Jessica said. They forget you built a life, raised kids, worked every day for 41 years, paid bills, kept promises. They see someone who needs managing. I picked up the phone again. Different number this time. My lawyer answered on the third ring. "Harold, it's Frank Wagner. Sorry to call on Thanksgiving." "Frank, no worries. I'm just watching the game. What's going on?" I told him. All of it. The dinner, the talk about selling the house, the guardianship threat. Harold listened without interrupting. That's why I'd used him for 30 years. He listened. "Okay," he said when I finished. "First thing, don't panic. Guardianship is hard to get. They'd need proof you're incompetent. Medical evidence. You see Morrison regularly?" "Every 6 months. Blood pressure, cholesterol. He says I'm healthy for my age." "Good. Call his office tomorrow. Get a letter stating you're mentally competent. We'll keep it on file. Second, let's talk about protecting your assets. The house. Your accounts. Everything. If you want to make sure nobody can touch them, we have options. Living trusts. Power of attorney arrangements with built-in safeguards." "But Frank, I have to ask. Do you think they'd really go through with this?" I thought about Jessica's voice, the certainty in it, the lawyer friend. "Yeah," I said. "I think they would." "Then let's be proactive. Can you come in Monday morning, 9:30? I'll be there." After I hung up, I sat in the dark for another hour, thinking about numbers, money. I'd always been good with numbers. It's why I'd done well as a tool and die maker. Precision, measurements. Everything had to be exact or the parts wouldn't fit. I started adding up what I'd given them over the years. Not gifts. Gifts you don't count, but support, investment, help. Jessica's MBA, $47,000. Her wedding, $32,000. The house down payment, $60,000. When Brandon's business partner embezzled and they almost lost everything, $25,000 to keep them afloat. Car, when she totaled hers, $18,000. Various smaller emergencies over the years, maybe another $15,000. $197,000 to Jessica. Michael had been different, cheaper. He'd gone to state school, paid his own way with loans, married Amanda in a courthouse. But there'd been other things. Business loan when he started his consulting firm, $50,000. Medical bills when Amanda had complications with their second pregnancy, $12,000. Down payment on their condo, $40,000. The boat, $22,000. Because Michael had always wanted a boat. $124,000 to Michael, $321,000 total, not counting the smaller things, birthday gifts, Christmas, the table, the tools I'd given Michael, the jewelry I'd passed down to Jessica from Martha's collection, $321,000. And they wanted the house, too. I got up, poured the cold coffee down the sink, went to bed, didn't sleep much. Kept seeing Jessica's face, the certainty, the planning, like I was already gone and she was just working out the logistics. Friday morning, I called Dr. Morrison's office, got the answering service, left a message about needing a competency letter. Felt strange asking for proof I wasn't crazy. Then I started going through my files. I kept everything. Every receipt, every bank statement, every canceled check. Martha used to laugh about it. Frank and his filing cabinets. I had 4 of them in the spare bedroom, organized by year and category. I pulled everything related to Jessica and Michael, made copies, put them in order. Watching the numbers add up again in black and white made something cold settle in my chest. Jessica called around 11. I didn't answer. Michael called at 1. I let that go too. By 5 o'clock, I had 16 missed calls, mix of both of them, one from Brandon. The voicemails were all the same. Concern, worry. Just want to make sure you're okay. Sunday morning, Michael showed up at my door. I was in the workshop, sanding down a bookshelf I'd been making for my neighbor's daughter. Birthday present. She was turning 12. "Dad, can I come in?" I looked at him through the screen door. My son. He had Martha's eyes, green with gold flecks. "Door's open." He came in carefully, like approaching a wild animal. "You haven't been answering your phone. We've been worried sick." "I've been busy." "Doing what?" "This and that." He looked around the workshop, saw the bookshelf, the lathe, the table saw, the neat rows of tools on the pegboard, everything in its place, everything maintained. "Place looks good," he said. "I keep it organized." "Yeah, you always did." He shifted his weight. Uncomfortable. "Dad, about Thursday. Jessica gets intense sometimes. She means well." "Does she?" "You know how she is. She worries. We both do." I set down the sandpaper, looked at him directly. "Michael, do you think I'm senile?" "What?" "No, I never said that. You sat there and let her say it." He looked away. "She didn't say senile. She said confused sometimes. Same thing. It's not. Dad, look. You're getting older. That's just reality. Things get harder. We want to help." "By taking my house." "Nobody wants to take anything. We want you safe, comfortable. Is that so terrible?" I picked up a piece of paper from the workbench, one of the copies I'd made. "Michael, do you remember when you started your business? 2015? "Yeah, why?" "You needed capital. You came to me. Said you'd pay it back within 5 years. His face changed, got wary. "I know. And I appreciate that, Dad. I really do. $50,000. I gave you a check from my retirement account. Martha had just died. That money was supposed to be for emergencies." "I know. You said 5 years. That was 8 years ago." Silence. Outside I could hear kids playing, someone's dog barking, normal Sunday sounds. "Business has been tough," Michael said finally. "You know that. The market, competition. I'm doing my best. I'm not asking for it back." "Then why bring it up?" because I'm trying to understand something. I gave you $50,000. No contract, no interest, just trust. Father to son. And now you're sitting in Jessica's dining room agreeing I'm too confused to manage my own affairs. Dad, that's not fair. Isn't it? He looked at the paper in my hand. What is that? A list. Every dollar I've given you and your sister since you turned 18, copies of canceled checks, bank transfers, loan documents you never paid back. His face went red. Anger or shame, couldn't tell. Jesus, Dad. You kept track? Like we're some kind of debt? No. I kept records because that's what responsible people do. And I never expected repayment. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? It's about understanding who's really confused here. I can tell you every dollar, every date, every purpose. Can you? Couldn't. I could see it in his face. He had no idea how much I'd given him over the years, no idea what things cost, what sacrifices were made. It wasn't real to him. Just Dad helping out. That's what dads did. This is messed up, he said. Throwing money in our faces. I'm not throwing anything. I'm showing you I remember. I keep track. I'm not some doddering old fool who can't manage his checkbook. Nobody said that. Jessica did. Thursday night. At that table. With 23 witnesses. He started to argue, then stopped. Because it was true, and we both knew it. Look, he said, I'll talk to her. We'll back off the assisted living thing, okay? Is that what you want to hear? I want to hear that my children don't see me as a burden, that they're not planning how to divide up my assets while I'm still breathing. That's not what this is. Then what is it, Michael? He couldn't answer. Just stood there looking at his shoes. 46 years old. Still couldn't face hard truths. I think you should go, I said. Dad, go. He went. I watched him walk to his Lexus. $60,000 car. Leased, probably. Everything with Michael was leased or financed or leveraged. Living beyond his means. Always had been. I went back to sanding the bookshelf. The repetitive motion helped. Sand with the grain. Don't press too hard. Let the paper do the work. Simple, predictable. Unlike family. Monday morning, I was at Harold's office at 9:15. He had coffee waiting. Good coffee, not the swill I made at home. So, he said, settling behind his desk, let's talk about asset protection. We talked for 2 hours. Harold laid out options. Living trust with me as trustee. Couldn't be broken without proof of mental incompetence, and even then, it required court proceedings. Transfer on death deeds for the house. Beneficiary designations on accounts that superseded wills. Ways to make sure if something happened to me, my assets went where I wanted, not where someone could grab them. The key, Harold said, is doing this now, while you're clearly competent. Once there's a question of capacity, everything gets complicated. How much will this cost? Few thousand for everything? Documents, filings, notary work? He paused. Frank, I have to ask. Who do you want to benefit when you're gone? Good question. I'd assumed my kids. That's what you did. But sitting in Harold's office, looking at spreadsheets of money I'd given them, listening to him talk about protection from my own children, I wasn't sure anymore. "I don't know," I said. "Okay. We'll set it up flexible. You can change beneficiaries any time. But right now, let's make sure nobody can force your hand." We did the paperwork, signed documents. Harold had his secretary notarize everything. By noon, my house was in a living trust. My accounts had transfer on death provisions. My health care directive specified Michael and Jessica had no authority unless I was unconscious, and even then, a doctor had to certify I couldn't make decisions. "You're protected," Harold said, "as much as anyone can be." I drove home feeling lighter, more in control. The house was mine. The money was mine. Nobody could take it. The call came that afternoon. "Jessica." I answered this time. "Dad, Michael said you have some kind of list." "What's that about?" "It's about keeping accurate records." "Records of what you've given us?" "That's sick. We're your children, not investments." "I never said you were investments." "Then why track it? Why throw it in Michael's face like he owes you?" "I didn't throw anything. I simply demonstrated I'm not confused about my finances." Her voice went cold. "This is manipulative. You're trying to make us feel guilty for caring about you." "Jessica, I went to a lawyer this morning." Silence. Then, "What?" "I put the house in a trust. Set up protections on my accounts. If you try for guardianship, you'll have a fight, an expensive one." "I can't believe this. We're trying to help you and you're treating us like enemies. You threatened to take control of my life. What did you expect?" "You're being paranoid and vindictive. Mom would be ashamed of you." That one hit. Martha wouldn't be ashamed, but she wouldn't understand this either. The calculating coldness in our daughter's voice. The sense that I wasn't a person anymore, just an obstacle. "If that's what you think," I said, "maybe it's better we have some space." "Fine. You want to be alone? Be alone. But don't come crying to us when you fall and can't get up." She hung up. I sat there holding the dead phone, feeling hollow. Thanksgiving had been 5 days ago. In 5 days, I'd lost my children, not to death or distance, to money, to the house, to the belief that I couldn't manage my own life. The next week was quiet. No calls, no visits. I kept busy, finished the bookshelf, delivered it to my neighbor. The girl loved it, hugged me, said it was the best present ever, made me feel useful. I worked in the garden. November wasn't prime gardening season, but there was cleanup to do, dead plants to pull, soil to turn, preparing for spring even though spring felt far away. Tom from next door came over on Saturday. We'd been neighbors 12 years. Good man, retired electrician. We usually had coffee on weekends. "Haven't seen your kids around lately," he said. "We're taking a break." He looked at me over his mug. "Everything okay?" I thought about lying, saying fine. Everything's fine. But Tom was the kind of friend who'd know. "They want me in assisted living. Want to sell the house." "Jesus, you're healthy as a horse." "They think I can't manage." "Can you?" "Yeah." "Then tell them to pound sand." Simple, direct, Tom's way. I wished it were that easy. They threatened guardianship. His face hardened. "They can't do that. You're sharp. Anyone can see that. I went to a lawyer, protected my assets. Good, family or not. Or nobody takes your house." We sat in silence for a while. Then Tom said, "You know, my brother went through something similar. His kids wanted him in memory care. Said he was declining. Turned out they wanted his condo. He fought them, won, but the relationship never recovered." "How's he doing now?" "Good. Lives alone, happy. Sees his grandkids sometimes. The kids not so much." "Does he regret it?" Tom thought about that. "I don't think so. He says you can't let people push you around just because they're family. That's not love. That's control." Control? That's what this was about. Not my safety. Control. Who decided where I lived, what I did with my money, how I spent my days. "They think I'm a burden," I said. "Then they're idiots." Simple. But it helped. December came. No calls, no visits. Christmas approached like a storm I could see building on the horizon. I didn't expect an invitation. Didn't get one. Christmas Eve, I sat alone, made a small dinner, ham steak, sweet potato, green beans, ate at the kitchen table reading a book about woodworking techniques. It was fine. Quiet. Lonely. But fine. The phone rang at 7. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. "Mr. Wagner? This is Patricia Chen from Meadowbrook Senior Living. Your daughter asked me to give you a call." My daughter. Not daughter's name, just daughter. Like I had one. "About what?" "She mentioned you might be interested in touring our facility. I wanted to reach out personally. We have some lovely apartments available. I'd be happy to show you around." "I'm not interested. I understand this is a big decision. Why don't we just schedule a visit? No pressure. You can see what we offer. Many of our residents find—" "I'm not interested," I said again. "Please don't call back." I hung up, stared at the phone. Jessica had given them my number, was probably calling them regularly, keeping the pressure on, hoping I'd break. I wouldn't break. New Year's came. I watched the ball drop on TV alone. Thought about calling Michael. Didn't. Pride, maybe. Stubbornness. Or just the knowledge that nothing had changed. January crawled by. Cold, gray. The house felt bigger, emptier. I started spending more time in the workshop, built a chest of drawers, a coffee table, a rocking chair, things nobody asked for, things I made because the work kept me from thinking. February brought Valentine's Day. Martha's birthday would have been the 16th. I always visited her grave, put fresh flowers, sat for a while talking to her, telling her about my year. This year I had a different conversation. "They want to take the house," I told the headstone. "Your children. They think I'm too old to manage, too confused. They want me in a facility." The wind blew, cold, bitter. I fought back, got a lawyer, protected everything. They're not speaking to me now. A crow landed nearby, watched me with black eyes. I don't know if I did the right thing. You'd know. You always knew how to handle them. I'm just angry all the time now. Angry and alone. The crow flew away. I sat there until my legs got stiff. until the cold seeped through my coat. Then I drove home. March came with the first hints of spring. Warmer days, buds on trees. I started planting tomatoes, peppers, beans, things that wouldn't be ready until summer. Planting them anyway, making plans like I'd be here to see them grow. The call came on March 23rd, Saturday morning. I was having coffee. Michael's number. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Dad? Michael. How are you? Fine. Silence. Then, look, I know it's been a while. I wanted to check in. Okay. Are you doing okay? Staying healthy? Yes. More silence. This was painful. Dad, I miss you. Those 4 words. I hadn't expected them, didn't know what to do with them. I miss you too, I said, and meant it. This whole thing got out of hand. The Thanksgiving dinner, the guardianship talk. Jessica gets worked up sometimes. It wasn't just Jessica. I know. I should have said something. Should have stood up for you. Yes, you should have. I'm sorry, Dad. Really sorry. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to say it's okay, come over, let's put this behind us. But I kept seeing him at that table, silent, cutting his turkey while his sister talked about taking my life. I appreciate that, I said. Can we maybe have lunch? Talk? I don't think I'm ready for that yet. Okay, I understand. He sounded hurt. Will you think about it? Yeah, I'll think about it. We hung up. I sat there feeling worse than before the call, missing him, angry at him, both at once. April brought rain, lots of it. Good for the garden, bad for mood. I spent days inside, reading, watching television, thinking too much. Harold called mid-month. Frank, just checking in. Everything okay? Fine. Kids still giving you trouble? No, they're not giving me anything. He heard what I meant. No contact? Michael called once, apologized. I wasn't ready to see him. That's okay. You take your time. Just wanted you to know if anything changes. If they try anything, call me immediately. I will. But nothing changed. The silence continued. Some days it felt peaceful. Most days it felt like punishment. I wasn't sure who was punishing whom anymore. May arrived. The garden exploded. Tomatoes flowering, peppers growing. I spent hours out there, weeding, watering, talking to the plants like a crazy person. Maybe I was going senile after all. Tom came by. Looking good. Thanks. You hear from your kids? No. That's rough. It is what it is. He looked at me. Frank, don't take this wrong, but have you thought about reaching out? Maybe making the first move? I did make the first move. I stood up for myself. I know. And you should have. But sometimes being right doesn't matter as much as being happy. I thought about that after he left. Was I happy? No. Was I right? Yes. Did one cancel out the other? The answer came in late May, the 27th, 3 days before Memorial Day weekend. I was in the workshop when my phone buzzed. Text message. Jessica. "Dad, we're having a barbecue Monday. Would you like to come?" I stared at those words. An invitation. Finally, after 6 months of silence. Part of me wanted to say yes immediately. Part of me wanted to delete it and pretend I never saw it. I texted back, "What time?" 2 o'clock, casual, just family. Just family. Like the Thanksgiving that started all this. "I'll think about it," I typed. 3 hours later, she called. "Dad, it's me. I saw your text. Will you come, please? I know things have been strained, but it's been 6 months. Life's too short." Life's too short. Martha used to say that, usually when I was holding a grudge or being stubborn. Life's too short, Frank. Let it go. "I don't know, Jessica. Dad, I'm sorry for everything. For what I said at Thanksgiving, for the guardianship threat. I was worried and I expressed it badly. Can we please just move past this?" She sounded sincere. Maybe she was. Maybe 6 months had given her perspective. Or maybe she just missed having access to the bank of Dad. "What about the assisted living talk?" I asked. "Off the table. You were right. You're managing fine. I can see that. The house? Your house. Your decision. I'm sorry I pushed." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. "Okay," I said. "I'll come." "Really? That's wonderful. Thank you, Dad." After we hung up, I sat in the workshop feeling something close to hope. Maybe this could be repaired. Maybe family was stronger than conflict. Monday morning I showered, dressed in decent clothes, slacks, a button-up shirt, stopped at the bakery and bought a pie. Apple, Jessica's favorite. I arrived at 2:15. Fashionably late, Martha used to call it. The driveway was full of cars, more than just family. I recognized Brandon's business partner's BMW, Jessica's in-laws' Mercedes, Michael and Amanda's Lexus. The front door was open. I could hear voices from the backyard, laughter, music. I walked through the house carrying my pie. They were all in the backyard, maybe 30 people. Kids in the pool, adults around tables. A banner across the deck read, "Happy Memorial Day." Jessica saw me first. Her face lit up. "Dad, you made it." She hugged me. It felt real. I hugged back. "I brought pie," I said. "Perfect, thank you." She took it, set it on the dessert table. "Come on, let me get you a drink." I followed her to the cooler. She handed me a beer. I looked around. Michael waved from across the yard. Amanda smiled. Brandon nodded. Everyone friendly, everyone welcoming. It felt good, normal, like the past 6 months hadn't happened. We ate burgers and hot dogs, potato salad, corn. The pie got compliments. People asked how I was doing. I said fine. Showed pictures of my garden on my phone. Got advice about tomato blight. Around 5, after most of the guests had left, Jessica asked if I'd come inside for a minute. Her voice was casual, light. "Just want to show you something." I followed her inside, into Brandon's home office. Michael was already there. So was Brandon. And a woman I didn't know. 50-ish, professional looking, blazer and slacks. Dad, this is Carol Henderson. She's a financial planner. The beer in my stomach turned cold. We asked Carol to look at your situation, Jessica continued. Your assets, your income, your long-term needs. We thought it might help to have a professional opinion. I looked at Michael. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Brandon. He stared back. Calm. Certain. You said the assisted living talk was off the table, I said to Jessica. It is. This isn't about that. This is about making smart decisions. Carol's helped lots of families navigate these conversations. Carol stepped forward, smiled. Professional. Warm. Mr. Wagner, I've reviewed the information your daughter provided. Your financial picture is actually quite strong. The house, your pension, your savings. With proper management, you could maintain your independence for many years. I am maintaining it, of course. But there are ways to optimize. For instance, the house. As Brandon mentioned, that's substantial equity sitting idle. If you sold, invested properly, you'd have more monthly income, more security. There it was, the real reason for the invitation, the reconciliation, the 6 months of silence designed to soften me up, make me grateful for attention, willing to compromise. And I suppose you have specific investment recommendations, I said. I work with a firm that specializes in retirement portfolios. We could get you excellent returns. Returns that generate fees for you. Her smile faltered. Well, yes, there are management fees, but they're very reasonable. I looked at Jessica. This was the plan all along. Dad, no. We genuinely want to help. Carol's credentials are impeccable. I'm sure they are. And I'm sure if I sold my house, invested with her firm, you'd all benefit somehow. Brandon stepped forward. Frank, that's not fair. We brought Carol in for your benefit. On Memorial Day, at a barbecue, after 6 months of not speaking to me. I looked at each of them. My daughter, my son-in-law, the financial planner. This is an ambush. It's not an ambush, Jessica said. It's an intervention. Dad, you're making poor decisions, sitting on assets you could be using, living alone in a house too big for you. We're trying to help before something bad happens. Something bad? Like me dying with money you don't have access to? The room went silent. Michael looked sick. Jessica's face hardened. That's an ugly thing to say, she said. It's an ugly thing to do. Inviting me here under false pretenses. Springing this on me. Again. We tried talking to you reasonably. You lawyered up and cut us off. I protected myself. From your own children, because my own children threatened guardianship. Carol Henderson cleared her throat. Perhaps I should step out. No, Brandon said. Stay. Frank, sit down. Let's discuss this like adults. I am an adult. That's the problem. You all keep treating me like a confused child who needs managing. Because you're acting like one. Jessica's voice rose, sharp, frustrated. Hoarding assets, refusing help, being paranoid. I'm not paranoid. I'm being realistic. You want my money. That's what this is about, not my safety, not my happiness. Money. Michael finally spoke. Dad, that's not true. We're worried about you. Then why the financial planner, Michael? Why the sales pitch? Why not just ask how I'm doing? He didn't have an answer. I looked at Carol Henderson. How much were you going to make off me? She blinked. Excuse me? Management fees, commissions, how much? Mr. Wagner, I don't think that's ballpark. If I sold a $400,000 house, invested it with your firm, how much would you make? She glanced at Jessica, back to me. It depends on the investment vehicles, but typically 1 to 2% annually. So $4,000 to $8,000 a year, every year, for managing money I don't need managed. It's not just management. It's expertise, strategy. It's a racket. I looked at Jessica. And you're part of it. Dad, you're being impossible. I'm being clear. My house stays my house, my money stays my money, and if you can't accept that, then maybe we don't have much to talk about. I walked out, through the house, past the remaining guests in the backyard, to my truck. I heard Jessica calling behind me, ignored it, started the engine, drove away. In the rear-view mirror, I saw them standing in the driveway. Jessica, Michael, Brandon, watching me go, probably already discussing next steps, next strategies, next ways to get what they wanted. I drove to the cemetery, sat by Martha's grave as the sun set. They tried again, I told the stone. Different approach, same goal. They want the house, want control. A warm breeze blew, smelled like honeysuckle. I'm tired, Martha. Tired of fighting them. But I can't give in. Can I? If I do, I lose everything. Not just the house, my independence, my dignity, the knowledge that I can still make my own decisions. No answer, just the wind and the birds and the settling darkness. I don't know how this ends, I said, but I know I can't keep fighting my own children. Something has to give. I sat there until the cemetery closed. Then I drove home to my empty house and my quiet life, and the certainty that tomorrow would bring more of the same. The next morning, Harold called. Frank, I heard from Brandon's lawyer. They're filing for guardianship. My stomach dropped. Based on what? They're claiming you've become paranoid and delusional, that you're making irrational financial decisions. They have statements from Carol Henderson saying you refused reasonable advice. They're going to request a competency evaluation. Can they do that? They can file. Doesn't mean they'll win, but it'll be expensive and public. I sat down, suddenly dizzy. How expensive? Depends how hard they fight. Could be 20, 30,000 in legal fees, maybe more. My life savings, my security, gone to lawyers because my children wanted my house. Harold, I can't afford that. I know, but Frank, we'll fight this. We'll win. You're clearly competent. Any doctor will confirm that. But the damage would be done, the money spent, the family destroyed, all over a house and some money. What if I sold? I said. The house? Yeah, sold it. Moved somewhere smaller, cheaper, took away their incentive. You'd still have the proceeds. They'd still want control of that. What if I gave it away? To charity. Left them nothing to fight over. Silence. Then Harold said, Frank, That's your retirement, your security. Don't make decisions out of spite. It's not spite, it's survival. If fighting them costs $30,000, losing $30,000, where's the difference? At least this way I choose where it goes. Think about this. Don't do anything rash. But I'd been thinking about it for months. Since Thanksgiving, since the first time Jessica called me a burden. This wasn't rash. This was the logical conclusion to an impossible situation. I'll think about it, I told Harold. But I'd already decided. That afternoon I called my bank, asked about charitable giving, tax implications. They connected me with a trust officer who explained donor-advised funds. Ways to give money while maintaining some control. Ways to ensure it went where I wanted. I spent 3 days researching, looking at charities, organizations that mattered, scholarships for trade school students, tools and die maker training programs, organizations helping retired workers. On Friday, I went back to Harold's office. I want to set up a charitable trust. Everything. The house sale proceeds, my savings, all of it except enough to live modestly for the rest of my life. Harold studied me. Frank, this is permanent. Once you do this, you can't get it back. I know. Your kids will get nothing. They've gotten plenty. $321,000 over the years. They want more, they can earn it like I did. They'll be furious. They're already furious. At least this way, I control the outcome. He sighed, pulled out paperwork. Okay, let's do it right. We worked through the details. I'd sell the house, keep enough to rent a small apartment, live on my pension. The rest, around $370,000 after expenses, would go into a charitable trust. Upon my death, it would fund scholarships and training programs. While I lived, I'd oversee where grants went. This is a good thing you're doing, Harold said, but I wish it wasn't born from conflict. Me too. The house listed in June, sold in July, $412,000. After fees and Harold's costs, I had $383,000. I found a one-bedroom apartment in a quiet complex, $800 a month, utilities included. Moved in August. The furniture fit. Barely. I sold or donated the rest. I notified Jessica and Michael by certified letter. Told them about the sale, the trust, the decision. Told them I loved them, but couldn't continue fighting. Jessica called immediately, furious, crying, screaming. How could you? That's our inheritance. It was my house, my decision. You're doing this to punish us. I'm doing this to protect myself and to do something good with money that would have been spent on lawyers. This is financial abuse. We could fight this. You could. Harold says you'd lose, and it would cost you more legal fees. She hung up, called back an hour later, calmer, colder. I hope you're happy, Dad. You've destroyed this family. I didn't destroy it. I just stopped letting it destroy me. Michael took 3 days to call. When he did, he sounded tired. Dad, I understand why you're angry, but this feels extreme. Does it? Your sister tried to take my house. You both tried to force me into a facility, threatened guardianship, ambushed me with a financial planner. What would you have done? I don't know. Not this. Then you're lucky you'll never have to find out. Will we? Will we see you again? Good question. I don't know, Michael. I hope so. But not right now. Right now I need peace. We hung up. I sat in my small apartment, surrounded by boxes, feeling lighter than I had in months. Poorer, but lighter. September came. The trust was funded, operational. I started reviewing grant applications, trade school students needing tuition, apprenticeship programs needing equipment, workers needing retraining after layoffs. I approved a grant for a 19-year-old kid from Nebraska. Wanted to be a tool and die maker. His story reminded me of mine. Young, hungry, no money but lots of determination. $5,000 for tuition and tools. He sent a thank you letter, handwritten. Said the grant changed his life, made the whole thing worth it. October brought my 73rd birthday. No calls from Jessica or Michael. I had dinner alone, take-out Chinese. Fortune cookie said, "The best revenge is living well." Made me laugh. Tom from my old neighborhood stopped by, brought beer. "How you doing, Frank?" "Good, really good." "Kids still not talking to you?" "No." "That bother you?" "Yes, but less than it did." We sat on my small patio drinking beer, watching the sunset. "You know what I realized?" I said. "All my life I thought family was the most important thing. Blood, connection. But family's only important if it's built on respect. Without that, it's just people who share DNA. That's pretty wise for a tool and die maker. Martha used to say that. Respect first. Love follows. Smart woman. Yeah, she was. November arrived. A year since Thanksgiving, since the dinner that started everything. I thought about calling Jessica. Didn't. Pride, maybe. Or just the knowledge that some things can't be repaired. Instead, I approved another grant. $6,000 to a vocational program teaching metalworking to veterans. Seemed fitting. December came with the first snow. I sat in my apartment watching it fall, thinking about the house, the workshop, the garden I'd never see again, the life I'd left behind. I didn't regret it, not exactly. But I grieved it. There's a difference. Christmas Eve. I got a card. Michael and Amanda. Short message. Thinking of you. Love, M and A. I put it on my small refrigerator, looked at it every day, didn't call back, but kept the card. January brought a new year, new grants to review, new students to help. I threw myself into the work, found purpose in it. Meaning. February 16th, I visited Martha's grave. Told her everything. The house, the trust, the silence from our children. "I think I did the right thing," I said. "But I'm not sure. Some days I think I should have just given in, sold the house on their terms, kept the peace." The wind blew, cold, sharp. Other days, I know I couldn't. That giving in would have meant losing myself completely. That some things are worth fighting for, even if you lose everything else. I sat until the cold drove me away, until I couldn't feel my fingers. March came. A year since Michael's first call. The apology I wasn't ready to accept. I wondered if I was ready now. I picked up the phone, started to dial, stopped. What would I say? I miss you? I'm sorry? I was right? None of it felt true enough, so I put the phone down. April brought warm weather. I signed up for a community garden plot. Small, just a few tomato plants and some herbs. But it was something. A connection to dirt and growth. May arrived. The second invitation to a Memorial Day barbecue came via text. Jessica. We're having people over. You're welcome to come. No pressure, no agenda, just family. I stared at those words for an hour. No agenda. Could I believe that? I texted back. Thank you for the invitation. I'm not ready yet, but I appreciate it. She responded immediately. I understand. The door's always open. The door's always open. But some doors, once closed, are hard to walk through again. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal easy. I spent Memorial Day at the community garden, planting, watering, talking to the other gardeners, making friends, building a new life that didn't depend on family or houses or money. June brought a letter from the vocational program I'd funded, photos of veterans learning metalworking, testimonials about how the grant had helped. One guy wrote that he'd been homeless before the program. Now he had a job, an apartment, a future. I put the letter on my refrigerator next to Michael's card. Reminders of what mattered, of what I'd chosen. July 4th, I watched fireworks from my patio. Alone, but not lonely. There's a difference. If you like this story, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions in the comments. To listen to more stories, click on the window on the right. Thank you for being with us.